Actually, this writing was taking on a new origin, which is like my own personal experience of being a father. It meant I had lots of ideas for that, and that was exciting. It's probably one of the biggest moments of my life, the birth of my daughter. Hi, I'm JJerome87. I'm at DIFFUS and I am painting my album, The Canyon. I'm not really a painter. I used to do it a little bit when I was at college, but it wasn't my chosen art form in terms of mediums. I was more of a concept artist. I ended up just coming up with like interesting ideas and then finding the best format that fitted that idea. It's new to me, like painting like this, that's new. I'd probably describe the album, it's kind of like laid-back, Californian, Motown, indie folk. It's good. I'd also say it's good. I enjoy it. It's special. I was kind of writing it at a time where I was having a lot of new experiences in my life being a dad. I just finished working on an alt-J record with the band, and I was still I had loads of ideas. And normally when you finish an album, you're finished and you're kind of creatively depleted a bit. But in this case, I wasn't. That felt great. I was going through so many new experiences. I just had a lot more energy, I suppose, a bigger sort of pool of experiences to draw from because I had just had a child. I had a lot more to say, I think, than I would ordinarily say in the band. A lot of alt-J stuff is kind of fictitious. It all comes about through fantasy and weird ideas. And I think in pictures. I imagine a scenario and then I sort of delve into that scenario. And it's kind of the world of the peculiar. And I think that's kind of what I celebrate through the writing. Actually, this writing was taking on a new origin, which is like my own personal experience of being a father. It meant I had lots of ideas for that. And that was exciting. It's probably one of the biggest moments of my life, the birth of my daughter. I mean, I've never seen, heard, experienced anything like it. It truly was terrifying, if I'm honest. I was shitting my pants. You have all of the doctors around you. You have all of the equipment. You're there. I'm there, sorry. Not you. I'm there. And I realized that actually the two people that are most involved in this is the baby and the mother. And you feel quite helpless. And so that was a really poignant feeling. And you can be there, but you're also unable to help. And I think that was kind of really quite an intimidating realization in the moment. That was hard. But then a song like Two Hearts, what comes out of that is this all-encompassing love for something that you've never experienced before. You have a greater love for your child than you do for yourself. And there's something really quite inspirational about that. Originally, this album was called Corrigan Canyon, Are You Looking Up? Because it was these three things that imprinted on me. The first couple of trips to LA, I was actually in Echo Park and I was close to Canyon Coffee, so that would be where I'd get my coffee most days. And then the perfume that I was wearing, because I like perfume. So I was wearing a perfume called Corrigan, which is this really nice perfume. And then I was listening to a song by Mk.gee called Are You Looking Up? So originally it was Corrigan Canyon, Are You Looking Up? But then my manager was just it might be a little too hard to remember as an album title, so do you want to make it simpler like The Canyon? And I was like, yeah, let's do that, that's a good idea. I think with writing, you absorb so much from so many things, it's hard to find an origin for certain ideas. A lot of my thinking comes from so many different worlds that it's hard to pinpoint one thing. I strongly believe in actually, to really understand the work you're involved in, you have to take it to the gallery essentially and hear the opinion of other people as they interpret your work. Because when you publish the work, it's no longer your work, it's a shared experience. And actually listening to people's experience is a really important part of understanding what you did and why you did what you did. It's like therapy. You comparing it to Kafka is actually, it's kind of interesting and it's not untrue. because I did read Metamorphosis, and I think it probably did have an influence on me, maybe in my subconscious. I played a show in LA a few months back. That was the first show under the artist name JJerome87. I was nervous performing alone without the band. It's unusual, it's an unusual experience. I've only ever performed with Alt J. I've never been in any other bands. I was acutely aware of that going on stage, but actually what I discovered was that I really liked talking about the music to people on stage. Because I write, everything's so personal and you kind of live in this kind of vacuum of writing. Actually talking about the music is really a really nice thing to do for an audience and for me. I feel like people have come to hear me not only play the music but discuss the music essentially. You know, I've got quite a lazy name in terms of it like being quite bland. Joe Newman, but my middle name's Jerome, so JJerome87 is my full name. Once you remember the artist, if you throw a number in that name, they're going to remember it probably better. It was a kind of a tactical decision to be more memorable. And also it sounds kind of cool, I guess. When you're working with people who've spent their lives in LA, they've grown up with, you know, the American sound, and you're in California and you're surrounded by people that have kind of familiarized themselves with the institution that is the session musician in LA. You are assured, I suppose, that there's going to be some really talented musicians that understand the kind of sounds that you want to lean into. That's kind of one of the reasons why I went to LA, is to find that aesthetic. On this album cover, you have me, my daughter, and we're in this made-up world, which is like a canyon, which kind of has all of the things that were synonymous with my experience in LA. When I first went to LA, I got up really early for a Pilates class. I was going through the LA hills, and there's a lot of coyotes around there. They basically walked across the road, a whole pack of them, while I was driving, and I had to slam the brakes on. Yeah, it was really quite intimidating, and they all just sort of strolled past me and just took one look at me and then just moved on. But it was like one of those moments where it was quite chaotic, but it was also quite beautiful. So you got coyotes. In the back you have a house. It's kind of like a rough recreation of the house that Ben Affleck and Matt Damon wrote Good Will Hunting. And so that's there. And then what else do we have? We have my daughter, of course, yes, my daughter, my beautiful daughter. She's in the picture. I finished the album artwork. I showed Myola, my daughter, and she was like, "Oh, that's great, Daddy. Where am I?" And I was like, "Ooh, ugh." So I had to include her in the artwork. I feel like I've done all of the under kind of colors and shapes, and I would probably need another few hours on it, but you know, it's more abstract. Hi, my name's JJerome87, and I'm here at DIFFUS, and I have just painted the album artwork for my new album, The Canyon.